Faisal bin Abdul Malik is a managing partner of Faisal Malik and Co. He is a council member and a chairman of Small and Medium Practices Committee of Malaysian Institute of Accountants and a council member of Association Certified Business Consultant Malaysia, ACBC. He is also an IBFIM Certified Professional Shariah Auditor, CPSA. Mr. Muhammad Faisal has attended the Business Mentoring for Mentors at the Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, EDII. He also has been exposed to several initiatives such as consulting and advisory in Malaysia and Asian business community. With his knowledge and illustrious background, he has been upskilling nearly 2,000 graduates in business and finance on national level and is currently involved in several pro bono programs with several universities on industry and higher learning collaborations. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Muhammad Faisal bin Abdul Malik.
Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chikhairul, moderator, and my fellow aspiring speaker, Mr. Stephen. He has very much covered almost everything already just now. So apologize on my side because there are some technical glitches just now that it is supposed to be my session first on the awareness, but that's the challenge now, right? That leads and caused by the pandemic. So we have to move and switch or whatever it is on, especially on our workstation and office, and so the office are almost everywhere now because I have the office and a house. So you just imagine that we need to set up all the platforms that are accessible and available. That is how bad COVID are on the digitalization. Okay, thanks to the COVID as well. Okay, thank you, MPC. Thank you, everyone here. So before I will proceed here, because I was told by the organizer that we're supposed to have participants across the fraternity. So, so I believe that there are other fraternities as well here today. Welcome and thank you for coming here. So I'm not going to focus more on details on accounting per se here. Okay, given topics by the moderator, and a little bit of disclaimer before I start. I'm not an IT expert as what Stephen are. Okay, okay, I'm just a light developer and active end user. That I would say on that. Only thing is that probably I can share some of a little bit of my exposure on digitalization, on digital. Asia Pacific Shared Service in FI modules, FI. So it covers the broad spectrum. And then starting from there, I embarked to other organizations that we set up the same things, a shared service on the financial shared service. So I took many. That is where the passion started to develop on myself. On the, I would say, on the IT side of it, on digitalization. So how amazing that you can convert certain things, you know, and say, for example, in terms of reporting kind of information that you want to extract. So all of those things you can tailor-make it and back at your end so that it can be user-friendly. So we are talking about this, but myself for the past like 19 years back. So since then, we are actively involved with this kind of move throughout the MNCs across Asia, I would say. So I put up these photos because we have a strategic partners in collaboration with these countries and experts from these countries involved more on the consulting part of it, mainly on the FI modules, FIs, financial. And some of it, the partners that we have more engineering, material management, warehousing, fixed asset and all. So those are the transactions that involve from millions up to nearly billions of the transaction in terms of the mobilization of the goods. So that is where the passion starts to build there. Not just, I'm not talking about the big projects on the digitalization for the past, since 19 years ago. So I'm talking about prior to that, fast forward for the past 3 to 4 years back, we went to EDI India. EDI is a partner to the Babson College in US, known as one of the top entrepreneurship schools. So I was there doing the business mentoring. It is more on IoT. And then the last year we did on the entrepreneurship in emerging economies with the Harvard Business School, focusing on how the IT or digitalization can uplift the so-called poverty in third world countries, basically. Of course, then the sample taken from India and some part of China, and so goes to Indonesia. So the journey was amazing how they transformed that initiative. That goes beyond professional services because it covers the whole SME spectrum. But here we are focusing on the platform for professional services. Yeah, I would like to, in Malaysia, we involved in the initiative with the Magic, on myself personally, and some other entrepreneurship ecosystem on the mentoring as well. A little bit of the background. I echo what has been shared by Mr. Stephen just now. Very insightful, very practical approach on that. But today I'm just want to illustrate and then share on the broad perspective from the. So as usual, actually, when it comes to digitalization, IT, not many are interested, especially I would say that, especially among the if you are coming from the different discipline, like myself from the accounting, so goes to say not many, I would say. Okay, transforming professional services to digital, a business world that moving from analog to digital. You can imagine that from analog, now we are in the digital. Some of us who are, if you are like 40s and above, definitely you've already gone through that process. Those who came into, let's say, for example, engineering or accounting or auditing, from vetting through the whole stack of documents. Now it's just a click of mouth that you can access to many information, loads of information there. Okay, the demand for professional services across the fraternity has been aggressively emerged. It becomes deeper and broader than ever, especially to the accounting, the law, even though these are the profession that being said as the least in terms of adoption of the digital, as compared to engineering and other professional fraternity. Yeah. In the past, transforming or adopting digital platform are very costly. Like what mentioned by Stephen, it may cost hundreds of thousands, and it's very time consuming. You need to write, you need to map as a customer, you need to map, you need to write. The IT guy, we don't really have those who are IT who are really familiar with financial estate, for example. Those who are good in IT or writing, how do I say, mapping the progress are coming from the engineering. Very difficult to get that. So you need an IT guy to understand your process. So now we have many talents, we have many professionals that you can source out there, and accountants who become a digital expert, and engineer who become IoT expert. We have lots out there. You just need to source. So time consuming with the limited specialists out there. So limited specialists is no longer an issue. That's what we see today. Okay. However, if we have option to adopt much lower cost with minimum time spent, it will open up new opportunities to do more with less resources, definitely. Okay. Imagine if you could save nearly like 80% of our time for backroom operations, such as gathering clients' data, generating clients' documents, claims, HR functions, customizing tailored services, making clients' report accessible in a portal, or it's just a click of an app. Then your SME clients can access their reports, their whatever things that they wanted to access. So whoever that can do this cutting edge or lip service in advance. So basically that they are providing a value-added service to the clients. Being a clients nowadays, they are, I mean, clients, we are clients ourselves in whatever capacity we are. They're getting smarter, they are demanding, they will shop around to get the best deal. So there's no such thing as a loyal customer nowadays. We may have one that we have for the past 5 years, 10 years ago, but the new generation of the clients, things start to evolve. People, their appetites, the culture, it changed everything. Whoever can give the best at a reasonable price, timely, and whatever things that can suit them with value-added service, then I don't think that the loyalty is no longer exists, I would say. I mean, statistics has shown that. Okay, it has expanding the business of, and you may also expand the business at a faster pace, faster than ever. Okay, this is the area that I'm gonna cover today. Very broad, but then very broad and very brief, very broad, very short, on the mindset, imaging the technology itself, and the opportunity, and of course interaction or Q&A. So I would love to have an interaction. Okay, let us learn from each other basically. So mindset is very important. We see that mindset is very important. Just look at the attendance today. You can see the mindset and leadership. So in order to transform it requires a mindset shift and a leadership. It takes a bold action, initiative and action. Because if it's not, this is not our core things, this is not our cup of tea, that most of the professionals find that, no, why must I bother into something like this? No, I'm comfortable, I'm already like 10, 20 years with a certain number of staff, I'm comfortable with this. So why must I explore or get myself trouble into, you know, like to get myself involved with that? Okay, let's go to the next. So this is the technology evolution. I'm going to cover like a broad perspective here. This is how the technology has evolved in the past. We can see the first era is on the what we call it agriculture economy era. This is the first era. Okay, and then it moved to the industrial economy era on the second era, and then now we are coming into the digital economy era. Okay, so we are now at the third phase, I would say. But then, when we speak on the reality, it is not a lip service, I would say. We are some of our SME definitely are still in the agricultural economy era, the way they do the business. So, and hence, especially to the accounting and some of the other fraternity as well, they find it like very difficult to move to digital, you know, because they need to educate the clients or customers. They are doing things that very brick and mortar, very traditional way of doing things. Even though you have your own digital setup in properly order, still it does not really work because the customer, the customer are not there basically. So the digital itself is actually still require a complete, how do I say, a clustering service or a complete ecosystem. But then this kind of customers or set of customers will somehow erode over time. And then if you want to move our business to the next level, definitely we need a different sets of clients, different market segment. Okay. Let's look at this transformation, I would say, and evolve. Some of you born in this year or might earlier than this, we can see this, how it emerged and transformed. This is on the technology. So if you were to explain or talk on technology alone, some of us might not have a clear idea of what is it all about. You know, if you're born in the 80s or 90s, you are born with the computers ready. So when we look at this, then we start to know that, okay, so how fast things evolve for the past like 20 years. Okay, you know, yeah, it displays again. I'm giving time for everyone to digest on this. Yeah, you see that before this, it falls on the table. Now it just cramped into this, but to the surprise that they are still processing using there are still some professionals, many out there processing using the Excel. I mean, I'm not saying the Excel, the expert level Excel, and I'm not the basic Excel in capturing the data in capturing data in transaction. So that is very like, I mean, sad to say things on the digital adoption. All right, on the technology, this is what I would like to share on the how it emerged basically on the technology perspective. So in technology, the agriculture economy era, we can see the animal power. People are using like in agriculture those days, that people are using like buffaloes, cow in kampong those days. Probably I have a chance to see that even till today there are certain areas are using that, even though that you can see that it's almost extinct in Malaysia, but in other countries they are still, especially in the world. Hydraulic power back then, backers, human intervention are very much needed. Everything's normal when people go to do one things that the whole family need to do and helps, because it's very like manually driven. And then it comes to the industrial economy era. So we are in the midst of this era as well. That the steam engine, electronic generator comes in, solar, wind energy. This is more technology driven. The ship, train, subway, car, and then telegraph, phone starts coming, then no more telegraph, computer, and then start to go for networking. The network start to build there, and then the next phases is mobile and phone. From 3, now people talking about 5G. The next, some of the areas, especially in China, are not embarking into the blockchain. So internet, AI, big data, cloud computer, and many more. Internet of things, a new energy vehicle. So we are in the verge of the digital era, digital economy era. So where are we is, I leave it for us to answer into that. Especially, and we go to the finance here. We can see finance in this era. People are widely used on bank notes. Traditionally go to the banks. We can see that probably our mother, father, or grandfather those days. So everything they walk into the bank, long queue, go inside the bank, bring the buku bank together with their IC to the extent Suraprana and all, metal coins, those, and then it emerged and to the industrial economy era, where the commercial bank start to comes in, then you start to see the stocks, the insurance, more complex instruments start to comes in, the investment funds, cards, the venture capital start to come in, and then ATM. So now we start to get digital banking, online banking, digital currency, mobile payment, paywave, e-wallets nowadays. And in fact, banking start to feel the threats of the e-wallets and all. And so at every age, every zaman here, when the new invention starts to come in, there are certain things that are being disrupted, definitely. So goes to the profession. So goes to the profession. So let us see how the corporate move here. And then at agriculture age, the people with farming, the workshop, land, labor force, capital is very traditional, very operational based. And then industrial economy era, they start to have some a little bit of complex instruments, stock option, partnership, the formation of company, composition of companies, and then a digital camera. Then we start to see like a platform enterprise, social enterprise, much sought after now, fintech company, digital startup, and many more to come actually. This is in line with the eras, I would say. Yeah. But the interesting part is actually, let's look at here. I would like to share this. This is the innovation and adoption curve. Because this is the awareness stage, and we need to have some mindset shift and some leadership to push this through, is actually on innovation side of it. What I'm sharing here is actually the innovation to adoption curve. The research done by the Edward Rogers, a PhD on behavior towards new adoption. The interesting thing is that you can see the 2.5%, 12.5%, 34, and 60%. Right. Have you noticed that have you ever noticed that some people adopt new products or behavior faster than others? Say, for example, that say, let's take it a very simple example that social media. Some people like, I just had my Facebook, let's say, for example, and not me. I just opened up my Facebook last week, let's say, for example. Another person said that I opened up my Facebook 10 years ago, say, for example. Or handphone, or I download new latest apps, or I download latest games. I download my Sejahtera, I download this. I mean, to surprise that some people, they ask people still don't trust my Sejahtera and whatnot. Okay, definitely there are kind of people. So in 1962, much earlier than that, Edward developed a theory they call it the diffusion of innovations to explain this phenomena. What kind of phenomena? Phenomena of these 5 categories of people strategy. Okay, he found out that individuals in main society fallen into 1 to 5 category adoption group based on how early or quickly they adopted the innovations. Okay, there are certain behavior that require unique communication channel, approach, message in order for them to adopt. So definitely, you found out that there are different approach to make this type of people segment to understand, either through different mode of communication, the ways of doing things, or in other words, how to influence these people. And these people require different methods before they take up, before they adopt some innovation, some technology that comes in. All right. The first one is the innovators group, the 2.5% here. Where you see that only 2% here. So they are the first. This type of group, they are the first to learn and adapt. It's actually, and in fact, they are the inventors. So they are the risk takers, I would say. They like to be in the cutting edge. They want to be the first person. Okay, they then influence the larger populations. And then, of course, they are the smallest group in these 5 categories. Okay, the elite adopters, the second one, which is comprised of 12.5%, is the early adopters. So they are a small group of people. Probably they are highly respected as opinion leaders. Okay, and they endorse the innovation in place. Okay, they endorse it. They are the one who bridge the gap between the inventors and the majority at large. Okay, and then we go to the yellow, highlighted in yellow, which is the bigger majority here. Okay, 2/3 falls under this category. Okay, the third category, that is the early and late majority, call it. Okay, it takes time to adapt. Okay, the early, it takes time to adopt. They observe, they want to see some results before adopt. Once convinced, then they will make decision whether after seeing the real benefits in place. So, but then, and then the late majority, the late majority often resist to change, but they are very responsive to their peer pressure. So eventually they will take up whatever things that they see practical and they can bring benefits. Okay, they want to see that it well tested before it's proven, right? And a last group to that is called the light. So these are the highly resist and difficult to reach because they have minimal exposure to media. They have minimal exposure to technology and even to their peers. Well, we notice this type of people definitely, okay, in professional fraternity as well as SME as well. They are practitioners, but they love to be in silo. There are people out there, and then they don't want to. We're not generalizing the people, but then these are the types of, just an awareness that for us to understand better that why sometimes certain people, certain segment of people, very fast in adopting the technology, and some very receptive into it, resist to this. Okay, this is the 5 categories of behaviors basically towards the technology adoption, right? Let's do some mind gym. Okay, we've been here for 1 hour already. Okay, plus the 7 years. Okay, let's do some mind gym here. Let's take one example. Let's say if I take Facebook here. Okay, I have a question and you may want to answer it yourself. Okay, you don't have to text. Okay, when the Facebook when it was launched? Okay, when is it launched? Do you know? Okay, yes, it was launched in 2000. 04, Facebook was launched. The next question is, when do you open your FB account? Okay, I'm giving an awareness stage first. Okay, Facebook went live in 2005. When do you open your Facebook account? Okay, I opened up mine in 2007. Then when is FB first IPO launch? It's actually in 2012. Then the first launched their initial public offering, which is they listed in New York Stock Exchange. Okay, how much is the launching price then? US dollar 38. How much is the price in 2020? Give a guess. 278 US dollar. I just checked yesterday price, nearly sevenfold. So this is the impact of the technology, partly the impact of technology evolution. So the application of it is same. I mean, this is just a margin for us to test our adoption to the technology. Even though this, I'm looking at a very simple example here, right? These are some things that are interesting to share. The research done by the Prof. McLellan on entrepreneurship, age, and creativity. Prof. McLellan is from the sorry, I couldn't recall. It's either Harvard Business School or Babson. I couldn't recall this, but never mind this. So he did research on the age and creativity. So I echo with Stephen just now that when we progress, if we notice that when we are like 5 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, I mean, those young kids, we were there those days that we are so creative. If you have a kid, you can go back and see your kids running around at house, at home during the MCO. They are so creative. They do many things. You know, they try to invent many things, find many ways, because the age, the creativity very much relates to the age as well. On top of if you train and skill yourself, okay, but it very much associated with the age. Okay, as and when we grow wiser, I would say, then the creativity level will start to drop. Okay, creativity level start to drop. So don't put the pressure. My point is that it is okay not to be creative. I would say in terms of try to learn the technology. No, we have a lot of the tech companies out there. We have a reasonable one that you can go out and reach them out. Okay, rather than to learn everything by ourselves. Okay? We know that as and when we age are getting wiser, creativity start to drop. It is normal that people to resist and refuse to learn something new that not within their discipline, I would say. Yeah, this is age and creativity. There are areas that expertise, correlation between the expertise and creativity. So the more expert you are, the less creativity. That makes sense. And this is the research done at McLaren as well. Okay, that makes sense, especially to the professional fraternity, because we work with the very stringent standard and regulations. So imagine that we are in the fraternity where we have to follow the design strictly, we have to follow the rules strictly, everything has to follow strictly for the past 15 and 20 years. I mean, we have trained our mind, how our mind say things and perceive things. So as compared to those, let's say, for example, in media, or those in the marketing where they train themselves, like there's no limit boundaries, there's no box, it is not out of the box, there's no box to things, let's say, for example, because there's no that certain limitation of standard. Of course, there are rules, but there's no standard of it. Okay, meaning my point here is that do not reinvent. You don't have to reinvent the wheels. We don't have to be like so creative. We don't have to be like expect us to do and understand all the JavaScript and know what to understand the SEO and whatnot to do everything. But then we can always solve out there because end of the day it will give an impact, positive impact to the business practice that we run here, right? So IoT now is getting towards the IoT. It is IoT in many areas, even though not many areas are still adopting the IoT. But we can see that the evolution of IT are widely practiced now. We have an experience when we were in the Gujarat with DIA India. we are placed in the startup. We call it, they call it, this startup is actually, they serve, even though it's in Gujarat, India, but they serve solely, the clients solely, they serve solely to the Silicon Valley, which is in US there. Okay, and they don't even serve their services to India. The clients mainly in Silicon Valley. So there's a tech area that is a very highly tech area. So they develop many initiatives there in IoT. So one of it is under, if you want to get the feel out of it, how they start things. Of course, when they start to incubate in India, but they, I mean, this is one of the strategy. They incorporate their organization, their companies in US and Europe. You know, that branding really matters, even though that the initiative comes from different countries. Something like aspiring minds, let's say, for example, aspiring minds. So we don't have time to go through what is aspiring minds, but that is a very good initiative that you Google aspiring minds, you Google the Amul Milk, AMULMILK, how the digital, all the kampong rural area, how they pick up all those milk and they become the largest milk producer in the world. So how they contain in the container, how they read the measures, how they integrate everything using the IoT system. That is amazing. Yeah, that is on the large scale perspective. I'm talking about large scale, and then of course, Stephen mentioned about Bookdog. Okay, yeah, I know personally that the JVB or Bookdog. It's good initiative by the medical has strongly embarked into that type, especially Bookdog is taking the leapfrogs on that, right? IoT has embarked across the industries. Imagine that this is our clients, to accounting fraternity. These are our clients. Our clients comprises of, say, if you're talking about the SMEs, they are nearing 900,000 SMEs. Probably half of that, 450,000, are bankable SMEs. I mean, the SMEs with the proper setup, proper documentation, I would say easily half. So if you are the early adopters of the digitalization, so those are the customers, our customers that already embark into that with various roles and functions. Definitely they require or the tax, business mentoring, advisory, and many other areas that you can't think of actually. You can only think when you start to venture into things, right? That is on accounting, but I believe the engineering also is one of the leapfrogs in terms of looking at the budget, 60 over billion to the construction industry. That's one of the biggest as compared to last year, which is 38% more. So I think our friends in engineering fraternities are happy. I mean, but if you look at the bigger perspective, it goes to the chain and effects are big actually. It goes to lower segments of the supply chains, SMEs, which is reflected to our clients as well, right? Okay, reality for SME, these are something that you need to comes in first for me. I will say that at least, okay, we have like on the application of the real software, clouds, computing and all, especially to the accounting fraternity, that has been well deliberated by Stephen just now. But the reality side, on the other side of the SME, is to getting the, I mean, to get yourself the branding, to get yourself be seen, be heard. I mean, these are the channels that you might need to have. So the next age is actually no longer multi-channel, that you have the single channel and you operate it in silo. And you have, let's say, store, you have web, you have mobile, you have social media. This is multi-channel. I mean, we still have many members firm that probably have one or two multi-channel, or even one of multi-channel, and some of don't believe at all. They have none of these multi-channel. Of course, they have phone, they have mobile, but they don't have web. They don't have like social media. They don't presence. They are not presence in online, but rather offline. So I mean, we foresee that it's going to be a very difficult path ahead. Yeah. To the firms, I would say. So this is something that must, because you need to be seen, you need to be heard, not to within the profession, but to the customers, actually. And then this is the multi-channel. The next is omni-channel. This is omni-channel. There are another things that, hey, the omni-channel, that Omnichannel is something that integration. This is something that for me is something that basic that practitioners should have in order that you need to have digital adoption in terms of your core business areas, which is processing system that you need to optimization on your cores. But on the other side is the omnichannel is more on the positioning and branding, the putting your organization, where are you putting your organization. And for your information, that being an accountant that really love the digital, all this platform, I would say that 80% of this platform are done by, I'm doing it done by myself. So even though I have a technology team that helping, but I'm very micro into this because I understand well on the SEO, I understand well application of the web, I understand well application of the apps, I understand I can write those things. It's all self-learned throughout for many years. Okay. Omnichannel is something that probably it is the least thing that a setup should have. Okay, this is one of these. Robert Cannon was one in WFE, so that everything that can be automated will be automated, and then nothing can be stopped. Okay, like what I say here, interface with the clients, anything that you think that can be automated will one day be automated. Okay, will one day. Somebody out there, the inventors, the tech enablers, we find ways of how to do things, how to make it easy, and how to do the cutting edge. And it comes right to our doorstep. And whoever, can bring value added to clients into the cutting edge of the technology, then I would say that you can hold your clients much more longer. And that is where the loyalty comes first. And that is where the loyalty comes in. And then the emerging digital adoption process here. This is the new normal. Okay, this is the new normal. We have no choice but to promote working area. We have to work at remote working area. Remote, I would say that other than our office, we need to have the plan B. Okay, and then we have to think if you have a branch, you need to have other plans as well. You need to have plan C and D, especially to the small practitioners members firm. This is, and of course, this is a cost to you, right? Information shared by the statement just now on the grants, the digital, that is a good initiative actually. Yes, government under the then budget also, the digital grant amounting 500 million, which is 300 million. Yesterday I wrote and was in the budget session, and then 300 million allocated to the SME alone. It is our duty, our call to go out and reach out to the respect bodies and to find the relevant information. Or else, you can source with your financial advisors, right? Gadgets also and devices. So for the past 4 months, I need to purchase a couple of extra gadgets devices, and not just for the office, but for kids also. So it's definitely that change or left behind. No choice. The new normal has really forced us. I guess cybersecurity issues, right? Cybersecurity issues, of course, the technology that comes with some flaws as well. Okay, there are issues, especially to the big organizations when they start bringing the work back home. There are malware. Because they are sharing some bandwidth, resources, or devices and whatnot. There are issues here. We are so used to the online meeting conference. Stephen has well explained this. Yeah, social media explodes. We saw, Alibaba launched within a day how many billion sales they made. Yesterday 11/11, Shopee and whatnot, everything exploded there. So we professional that probably some of the profession are not relevant to that. Some on a certain perspective that are relevant. So we must find ways in order to be seen, to be heard as well. Okay, reduction of social media gathering. Yeah, we are so used to this. The largest gathering that we can do is actually now is through virtual, actually. Okay, this other thing that's something that I'm not passionate to share, but it's just for slide for secretary to share with the participants. It's just a process only, how to source, to assist of involving users of each step of the process of digital adoption. Okay, first, this is very important. The first one is to define business goal for the project. I just come across that one of the members firm text me in the group, text me that, you know, they are about to adopt or purchase or subscribe. Let me. This is important. So let me check again. What's the term like? Bear with me, please. Server, you know, yes, to set up a server that cost me nearly 50,000. But when he start to source and looking at the need base, what are the system that they have? I mean, what will be the impact, the company kind of services, the limitation, the database information that need, and eventually he find some different platform that only cost him around 5,000 ringgit. Yes, 5,000 ringgit from 50,000. So in getting into the right platform, also very important that I'm not saying that not to be ambitious or robust, but then to go into something that we the need based, something that we really need. Yeah, we really need, and it can really bring values to us. Do not oversubscribe into something because now cost really matter now, or underutilized. Okay, this is the first one. I don't have intent to go for one by one here. It's just a matter of notes for the participants. Okay, but the first one is very important that always an IT or program or digital adoption or anything that no longer off shelf, you can request on either customized or tailor-made process. Right? Opportunity and challenge is, you know, imagine that kind of clients that you can see through mobile internet, sharing collaborations, using the AI, machine learning, RPA, intelligence interactions. I would love to see myself as, I would love to see the firms as positioning as the big organizations. Okay, positioning as big organizations and try to emulate that these are organizations that already come to this far, and then put up to yourself that on one day that you would like to go into that. But in order to be there, these are the things that you need to adopt. No choice nowadays. Cloud computing, okay, IoT, Internet of Things. This is part of the opportunity that we have at a much lower cost. We initially thought that the digital adoption cost us rocketing high, and it costs a fortune. But eventually, when we start, yes, it costs money to set up in the first place, the platform, the facilities, and all. But once we start to embark into it, there are lots of opportunities actually value added, and that we can derive from there. We can gain from there, especially with it depends on the respective firms, goals, and organizations, or vision mission of the respective companies itself. Okay. Of course, there are challenges. There's always a challenge, despite opportunities here. Okay, we are now moving from the slow to fast process driven. So like it or not, I mean, the customers are very demanding. In given the report, let's say for accounting, given report like last week, wanted to report like one day afterwards. I mean, that's just knowledge, very demanding. So they subscribe one service, they expect to get, let's say from the 5 service with one cost. I mean, everything are very demanding and challenging, and for professional to manage. Okay, professional have no other choice but to breeze with the super fast technology. Systems so goes to regulations. We talk about the governance. Governance also need to embed it on the digital adoption with whatever emerging social security and whatnot. We have to embed and embrace. Okay, and then of course this is the SME that who I personally believe that strongly disrupted by the technology or by the big players. They comes with the all sorts of the technology levelers. Okay, that applies to the firms, consultants, and professionals as well. Okay, and we are in the highly competitive environment. What we have today in terms of technology might not be relevant tomorrow. Okay, we think that we have adopted well, but it might not be relevant tomorrow. But then, if we refuse to adopt, we definitely left behind. It change or be irrelevant. And then customers, like I said earlier, I don't think that customers' behavior now is going for the loyalty, but their loyalty comes with the you know, the cutting edge, what are the things that we can put on the table in terms of giving a value added to them, right? Again, this last but not least, it's just the brain power that we need to train ourselves, let's say, as a change maker, professional change maker. Train yourself to, so what do you see here? Is the train coming from the right to the left or left to the right? Okay, it does not matter. It's just a matter of mindset and perception, or where do we think it is. If we think that the COVID, the challenges, the technology is a burden for us, then yes, it is a burden. If we see that it is an opportunity, if it will eventually turn into the opportunity. All right. Okay. I end with my parting notes here by Klaus Schwab. Yes, in the end, it's not the big fish. Okay, it is the fast fish. So regardless of the sizes that you are, I mean, with the co-exist, co-collaborate economy, regardless of the SMEs or professional firms, regardless of any kind of practice that you have, with the right strategy, definitely we can face this together and fly higher. Right? With that, I end my session here. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum, and we shall see on the Q&A session.